Hello, everyone. I would like to welcome everybody in our webinar. I would like to invite people that are comfortable with turning on their cameras to do so. It's actually something that we ask from all our students. It's much nicer for all the lecturers to lecture in front of faces rather than black boxes with names. I'm going to share my screen and immediately start. Okay, so I would like to welcome you to our Erasmus Plus project. Our project is called CREAMS, and the topic is scaffolding creativity of art students, a framework, toolchain, and educational material on how to create their own virtual exhibition. My name is Rebecca Vital. I'm a senior lecturer in the Department of Interior, Building and Environment Design in Shenkar. Shenkar is a school of engineering, design, and arts. And we are one of the partners in the project, and our team is a part of myself, curator Galit Gaon, and designer Shoval Nir. So the aim of our Erasmus Plus project is, on the one hand, to educate and create awareness of various stakeholders in the higher education domain with regards to scaffolding creativity for the art students. On the other hand, to develop a robust and innovative platform, an open source tool that is accessible to all for virtual exhibition creation. Our project has been approved by the European Commission and is co-funded by Erasmus Plus and the Greek organization of IKI, the State Scholarship Foundation. These are our partners. The project is coordinated by the University of Patras in Greece, and the collaborating partners is Aristotle University in Thessaloniki, the company Cognitive UX in Germany, the Cyprus University of Technology in Cyprus, Shenkar, and the Norwegian University of Science and Technology in Norway. Our agenda for today is a few words from myself. Then we are going to talk about art curation in general and discuss what happens in the field of curation when we move from the physical space to the virtual space. After that, we are going to have a hands-on activity on digital curation in the CREAMS platform, which will be guided by Galit and Shoval. We are going to have a hands-on demonstration for the platform and some closing comments and a request for feedback. We have all the tutorials of what you will see today and all the access to the websites and to everything on our Moodle. The Moodle has been distributed to you via email, but Shoval, if we can put here on the chat also a link to the Moodle so everybody can have access. I would also like to invite you to follow us in all the social media. You can just scan the QR codes with your phone. We are a project in progress. We are under development. Today, you are going to see our low fidelity version. It's the first of webinars, and it's the first time we are actually showing the product. So you will see maybe a lot of bugs, but we want your feedback. And we will try to incorporate it in the next stages. So here is a little bit of what we teach here in Shenkar about the curational process, how we make decisions during the curational process, how lecturers work with students to pass on this knowledge and understand the main points. In the CREAM platforms, we are going to see today how to sign up, how to upload artwork, how to make curatorial decisions about density, rhythm, scaling, color, how to add metadata to the art pieces, and we are going to visualize what we created in VR mode. You have some options of galleries to choose in our virtual platform. We have a physical gallery here in Shenkar, which you see the floor plan in front of you. And this is a small clip, a small fly-through in the gallery. The gallery has been published in design magazines. And this same gallery, we have asked our partners in Cognitive UX, who are doing the development part of the platform, to model it within the platform. So we here in Israel have an experience in this gallery, and we are going to experience it also in VR. Our guests from the other countries will experience it today only in VR. Maybe at some point when you visit us in Israel, you can experience it in real life as well. So you have here a few views into the virtual gallery and into the real gallery. And with that, I would like to pass on the stage to curator Galit Gaon, who will talk about what happens during the curatorial process and what happens when we move from the physical world to the virtual.
Thank you, Rebecca.
Yes. There you go.
Thank you. Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. Happy to meet you. Happy to see our students participating in this webinar. It's our pleasure. So hello. I'm Galit Gaon. I'm a design curator. I'm the head of the curatorial program here at Shenkar and teaches courses about design thinking, and of course exhibitions, which are a new thing. So being a design curator, I meet objects, I meet culture, and I meet creativity, and I try to find a way to connect all of them together. And for me, the best place to get them all together and to try and talk of those connections are in exhibitions. So I'd like to take you today through a very short lecture, understanding our values, our questions, and our roles as curators and designers who think in a virtual and concrete space. When we talk about artwork, when we talk about design, when we talk about creation, we need to remember that we are talking about the contemporary or current time, and we also can talk about the history of design or historical objects. Often in exhibitions, we would meet both of them together in one space, but I think the important part for us as creators, as teachers, as designers and artists is to remember that it is all about you as designers and artists. It is all about our creativity, humanity, and our values as people working in this not virtual world. Talking about curation, I would like to start with the beginning. So curator comes from taking care. In Hebrew, it would be called otzrut, which comes from the word treasure, otzar. It is not the same thing, and I would usually follow the English version. So curators are the ones who take care for, they attend to, they see to, and they worry about. I think in this first image that we see here, as we already saw in class, is the first curator ever documented in his gallery, and we can tell that he's the only one who's really worried about. He stands in the center of the image, he's wearing his coat and hat, and his hand is in his pocket. He's in charge of things, and he sees through things. And I think when talking about curatorial process, I think we need to remember that we talk about the two volumes of work. One is the collection, and the other is the experience, whether we talk about the concrete space or the virtual one. So as a curator, what do I really care about? So I care about design. I care about design history. I care about design users. I care about designers. And I care about design process. And often when we show exhibitions of design and art, we show the process as part of our exhibition. In our case, the process or the way of making an exhibition is the main goal of our meeting today. And of course, part of the course that we're going to take together. Using a digital platform to go through the process of having an exhibition is actually part of the exhibition as I see it. And I think documenting your work as curators, as artists in the space means that you care about the design process, whether it's your art or not. I do care about the design dreams, the big dreams. I think creators, as all other artists, share their dreams with us, and it's a privilege to meet them. And I think if we care about our dreams, if we care about our hopes, if we care about our world of objects around us, I think this is our opportunity to show them in an exhibition and to allow us visitors to meet those dreams, to meet those line of thoughts, and maybe to follow them into our creation. And because I care for all those things, I usually care for design exhibitions, and this is what I do for the last 35 years. So all of us, if you ever thought, why are we going to exhibitions? Why are we going to museums again and again? And when we opened the Design Museum in Holon, we were asking the visitors, good morning, hello, how are you? Why have you decided to leave your home and visit the museum today? And these were part of the answers we got. We come to the exhibition, we arrive to the museum to be inspired. We feel creative when we leave the museum. We want to share a unique experience, and we want to meet new ideas. And if you think of those 4 answers, I think it will give you a clue of how to reach the early thoughts about your exhibition. People will visit your exhibitions to be inspired. They would like to go through exhibition and to leave the exhibition with this feeling of being inspired. It means they go home and they have some new thought in their pocket. They have some new ideas that they've met in your exhibition. And think about this value of inspiration. If this is our role in the world, or as curators, think about, there's one of my good friends, curators, that said allowing people to be inspired in exhibitions means we do good in museums. So inspired. People want to feel creative. It means they want to see your work, but they want to feel creative. It means that they might go home and have a wonderful dinner and more creative than they had the day before, but they want to feel this sense of creativity. They want to see not just the objects you've made, they want to feel this vibration of creation, and that this is a good thing to remember. Of course, they all want to share a unique experience. So when we do put objects in space, we want to make sure that the experience is completely different from the one we saw last week or even this morning. How do we create this unique experience? We'll discuss it in a short while. And they want to meet new ideas. New ideas in art or design would be the connections between text and objects, the context. The context is there, we don't talk about it, but it is what happens when people meet your art. It is connected to their memories, their knowledge, their prior history, their dreams, their hopes. And these new ideas are coming together in one exhibition space. So exhibitions, it's all about this messy thing between visitors and content. It will be something that we cannot really describe. It happens every time completely different, but we do know that we have at least 2 volumes that we can understand and follow our visitors and content that we can actually be prepared for. So when we put them in space, those visitors and content, we have different expositions of people in space, behaviors, ways of reviewing art. And even when those spaces are completely empty, they were created for us. So the images are hung by eye level, they have this rhythm, there is a feeling to the space, so it is content waiting for visitors. So why exhibitions? Some of the words here are part of the thoughts that we have when we enter a new exhibition, or this line of thought of exhibitions. It would be about history or creativity or cultural value and more. But I think the most important one is understanding that we are talking about creating new knowledge. Creating new knowledge is this process of having a known collection in a new exposition. So when we talk about a collection, we can look back to early museums having natural history collections, private collections, museology, and museum collections, even semi-private collections that are presented in different ways, all referring to this cabinet of curiosity that we all know. Sometimes collections can be part of a historical collection or an industrial collection, but they still can be presented as an exhibition. And sometimes the collections are ones that are inviting us to go through different objects. It could be two-dimensional, three-dimensional, contemporary, historical together, but they are one collection of objects sharing one space and one new idea. So we are talking about two motivations. One is collection making, and the other one is making a collection. So we are talking about this transformation from a collection to an exhibition, from archaeology. It could be presenting archaeology like this, or historical. If this is the Israel Museum in its early days, so it's also our archaeology, to contemporary exhibition in contemporary time, and to this current time where presenting ideas is in completely different tools. So how are we going to do that? We're going to ask good questions, and Shoval and myself will be doing the same later on when we talk about the platform. So we do ask questions about all those values of exhibitions: curiosity and wonder, and experience and experiment and pleasure. We'll talk a little bit about that. Flow, mindfulness, and wondering. We are going to ask some questions about the space and how do we allow people to wander around in the limited space. We'll be asking questions about the mindware, about this understanding of where we are and allowing ourselves to have a personal experience in space. We would like to allow people in museums and exhibitions to be the one who can use all their senses while investigating objects, experiences, and space to create new knowledge for them. And of course, the flow of being comfortable in the space, allowing yourself to move around safely and happily in an exhibition. And I think remembering that people would like to be safe in exhibitions, would like to feel comfortable, is a very important idea in spaces. And of course, pleasure. I think we do talk about pleasure a lot. We feel that maybe it's not the appropriate word for museums or exhibitions, but I think if you do experience pleasure in an exhibition, it means your mind and soul and intelligence and senses are all working. And when you leave the museum, you feel a bit different, and you had experienced pleasure or museum pleasure, which is a bit different. So questions about people in museums, people waiting in line in museums, not looking at the art completely, or designers working towards exhibitions being part of this museum. And questions about people today in museums.
But when I raised my window shade that morning and found the prairies stretching out before me, I was as surprised, as stunned, as though I had never heard of them before. And the idea came to me like an original thought. How perfectly enormous they are, and how like the sea. In the foreground, there was nothing. In the middle distance, nothing. In the distance, nothing. Nothing, nothing, nothing. Nothing met the eye in all that treeless waste of brown and gray which lay between the railroad line and the horizon, on which was discernible the faint outlines of several ships, ships which were in reality a house, a windmill, and a barn.
Move to the emptiness, openness, monotonous cotton rows of plantation landscapes. Scale sets at the boundary limitations of the fields, where confinement, whipping, and punishment by overseers, invisible and physical markings of territory.
But when
So when we move to talk about people in space, digital space, we need to remember that as long as we are here, concrete people would meet virtual people, and people would like to see artwork that are involving that or inviting them to get involved. And this piece that we saw was part of an exhibition curated by Dan Hendel and Tal Erz, talking about the safe space and the action of reflection. And it was screened so big that people could actually felt that they were immersed in this experience. So when we talk about people, it's not just us visitors or us creators, but it's also about this new question of digital screening and visitors in the museum. Questions about experience would be going from this. I'm sure all of us, at least once, stood in a museum, photographed an image to take it home with us, to own the artwork. And this was, I think, most of the time that we spend in museums is looking at the art, but taking it with us. And then we moved into understanding how to visit the space without taking this art with us. And I think as we allowed more and more designers to play with the space and to play with this experience of exhibition, we found ourselves meeting all those strange, wonderful ways of looking at museums, at objects in exhibitions. And of course, I think one of the nicest ones was this exhibition. I think my understanding of what would happen if people would meet digital art and exhibitions happened in this one in London. I think it was for more than 10 years ago. And suddenly the artwork was not just an artwork to observe. It asked for me to take part in that. And by doing that, I met creativity. I met I was inspired. And I think this is your chance to create those kind of spaces. Sorry. And questions about, of course, about architecture, whether it's a concrete one or a digital one. This is my favorite sketch of an exhibition made by Okisato for a space, talking about the space in between people and objects. And this is a concrete space created in a concrete exhibition. Spaces can take us to a very specific journey. It could be ones that are made from light and objects and ones that are really in concrete spaces. But I think as we move forward into the digital space, we move forward into this new world that we all share, presenting knowledge, presenting pieces is a new floor to explore for us. And I think and although those movies are very inspiring and beautiful, I think the main question is, why are we doing what we're doing? Why are we choosing to create those kind of spaces? Who are we aiming for? If we are not asking ourselves all those questions, it's just going to be a nice experience or a beautiful space, and that would be it. but we would like to have a more coherent and serious and professional process when we move to our platform. So I'm going to move here. So whether we go to a digital exhibition, whether we create a digital exhibition, whether we are in space or in a very unclear architecture that deals with organizing information, I think the same questions should be the ones that we're asking. It should be about flow and rhythm, about visitors and experience, about the color, about the text, about the context, and I think mainly about us. On one hand, the artists, the curators, and of course, the visitors we're sending our exhibitions to. And if we do not forget that a good exhibition is a good story, and we keep that in mind, and we continue to ask the questions, I think your exhibitions are going to be wonderful. So I will stop my share, and then we'll move into the real platform with Yoval. Thank you.
Hi, hello everyone. My name is Yoval Nir. I'm a lecturer in Shinkar's Interior Design and Industrial Design department. I'm happy to meet you all. I want to say before we start that our session will be a hands-on between me and Galit, and it will be somewhat of a instructions manual as well for the platform for you. For those of you who would want to experience it in the near future. I'll start by sharing my screen through the Moodle to show you a few things that we have over there. And then we can start with our platform presentation. So in our Moodle, you have all the data that we're going to show today. You have the access to the platform from here. You have our project website, which explains what we're doing. We have our descriptions for the webinars and the courses in the languages of the partners, which is Greek, English, Hebrew, and Norwegian. We have a questionnaire here.
It will be in German as well.
It will be in German as well. That's right. We have our manuals and our video tutorials to the platform that you can use and watch after we finish our demonstration, and you can get all the access. It's an open link, so you can access it whenever you want. Our first screen of the platform. Let me just move.
Yoval, let me just say that if anyone has questions about this process or more, can just write it there, write it on the chat so we can answer Rebecca and myself. Or if there's something about the flow, we'll stop and explain to everyone again.
Thank you, Gary. Okay, so once we enter the platform, we would reach a login and signing page, which obviously I already have an account, but for you guys who want to open one, you will need to do not a member yet, sign up form, which you will need to enter, I'll just delete it, your email and password twice, your name, last name, and choose your position, whether or not you're an instructor or a student, your year, and A1 is the first year in the first semester, etc., until 4 years of 8 semesters. And what's important to choose is, at this point, is the correct institute that you study in. For those of you in Galit's class, you can use, obviously, the Shinkar's link. Already have an account, sign in, and I will be able to sign through my email and password. Just another note, once you enter all your details, you will receive an email with an activation code, so we won't have too many false positive accounts. It could go to spam, so if you did the process correctly, you should receive it. But anyway, just to let you know, if you haven't received it, check on your spam folder and it should be there. So I will sign in for our platform, and obviously at this point, I will play student and Galit will play the lecturer in order to create a digital exhibition that we're trying to curate together. So this is our, once we've logged in, this is our first page. You can see, quite basic options like the account, my profile data, sign out, and as well if you want to go into dark mode, for those of you who would like to work in the dark. I'll work in the light mode because you will see it a bit more clearly. And at this point, you have three main parts. You have the My Exhibitions, which, as you see, this is the first exhibition that I've created, or basically Galit created for me to work on as a project. I have my artworks, you can see already here, which are artworks that already uploaded to the platform. And now we're going to go through the short process of uploading an artwork so we can further use it in the Shells exhibition. So press My Artworks, and here are all the artworks I've uploaded already. You can see there are a few dozen, and I'm going to show you how to add a new one. By clicking Add Artwork, this page is open and quite obvious what we need to do, but I'll do it anyway, slowly, so people can understand. If there are any questions or technical issues, you can write it in the chat or ask it later on. So we'll start by uploading an artwork. I have this folder with all the Shells drawings of Franz Kraus, which is an Israeli designer.
Senior graphic designer, yes.
Senior graphic designer, sorry, yeah. A graphic designer. Here you see watercolor drawings, hand drawings of shells. Galit can go and explain a bit further, but I'll go to the upload artwork page. It will open the folder that I was last in, and I will choose an image. Let's say, and all the questions will rise later, which of these artworks are we uploading in order to use? So I'll just choose one that I haven't chosen yet. Let's go with 129. I'm doing open, and you can see right over here. After that, I will give it a title. At this point, I will just give it a number, S119, and the year it was drawn, the creation year.
1953.
1953, as Galit mentioned here. The type of artworks you can use now at this point in the platform, the low fidelity, is 2D artworks. We're working on also to have the ability to upload 3D artworks. We have a digitizer app that we are working on. You will be able to upload installations such as video, sound files, and also time-based media. But at this point, we're going to use 2D images as a base point. I'm going to put the height of the drawing. It can be in real scale, okay? But I will put like 1.5 at this point, since this is the default size in the platform. It can go from any number that you wish. Again, the correct way is to use the correct size of the image, so it will upload in its original size. But again, we're working at a digital platform, so we can manipulate the size later on. So let's say I will put it 1.6 to 1.5 because it's kind of a rectangular shape. The depth can be 0.1, and the unit at this point, I recommend everyone to use 1. It's some kind of an internal issue with our platform. Just let's leave it at that. And the technique, you can write text on what technique the drawing was made on. Let's say this was made, as you can see, I already written it before, but I will do it anyway. Watercolors, and it can be hand drawn, it can be any technique you want, and the genre is still live. I will do an upload artwork, and then I will show you where it went. Okay, got it. It means it was uploaded to the cloud, and if I would scroll down, you would see it right here in the bottom, S119. I'll do it once again quickly so everyone will get it. Add artwork in my artworks folder. I will choose another image. Let's go with 130. S130. The depth would be 0.1 and the entry 1. Again, the technique, once you've done it twice, once it will be saved for you, so it will be easier to upload a bit quicker, the amount of pictures that you're going to have. And obviously, you have here help button. You should fill all the required fields, which helps you understand what went wrong. Let's do a quick, mistake by quick mistake. I won't write the technique, and I will try to upload. It says there are some errors, and I can see what's missing.
Let me just say that we are moving from information. As you all know, when we collect the artwork, even your own artwork, and you want to present it, this is a very crucial moment, because all this information would be the base to work with when you install the pieces in the space. So we move from information to interpretation. So this information phase should be very accurate, and try and give all the information that you can while registering all the pieces in this process.
Once I've uploaded the image, I can go back to my artworks folder, and it's supposed to be shown in the bottom of the page. And there it is, 180. Let's say I want to edit some of the data I've already put in, so I can choose an image. And here is the data that I've already entered. I can do an edit, and then it will go back to the edit page. Or I can go back and delete it totally if I don't want to, if I uploaded it twice or by mistake. This is, again, you can see all the data that I've already entered prior, the height, the width, the depth, the technique, and the type of artwork. Once I've uploaded my artworks and I finished this part of the process, I can go to my exhibition and start working on the space. At this point, we're going to work in the indoor exhibition, which are my lecturer assigned to me. It says Shoval Nir, but for this session, it will be Galit Gaon. And I will go to my indoor space. And what you see here is the VR editor page, which we will do most of our work in. This is both a visualizer of the VR space and both an editor, and we will go through the process quite quickly. I just want to show you what I've done already, so we won't start on a clean slate. As Rebecca mentioned prior, Cognitive UX, our partner from Germany, modeled the Shinkar's gallery. I will explain in a minute how I'm moving throughout the space, but I can move through the space quite freely. And here you can see the process that I've already done. And I've already uploaded a few images from what you saw prior to the space. How are you going to move through the space? You move with the arrow keys, like a computer game, which is quite nice. Backwards, forward, to the left, and to the right, to the left. And with your mouse, you can tilt or rotate your head or your view in order to view the space like a rotation option. So you can rotate and then move further close or backwards as much as you want. So let's go quickly what we have on the right with the editor, and then we'll try and make a hands-on curational process. Sorry. In the right part of the screen, you see the size and position options for the artwork. You see the walls definition. You see the artworks that I have on my folder, which you saw prior that I already uploaded. You have here a few actions you can work in, and the sounds which we are working on which on this stage it's not available yet, but it will be very soon. So let's go through the process now with Galit. Let me go back and enter the space. So we will go through the process from the beginning. Again, my exhibition, I'm going to choose the indoor. You see the date that I've started it. This is Franz Krauss Seashells exhibition at Schenkar's Gallery. And I'm going to enter it again.
Perfect.
Galit, the floor is yours.
So, Shobal, our first questions would be about the choice you've made. We have thousands of images in our folder. Or the exhibition of Franz Krauss is a very big one, and I'm sure that you looked over this folder and you chose different images to work with. Could you explain why why did you choose those images or these images in particular? But and also try and talk to me about what you felt when we saw this portfolio of work, and what were your thoughts about it?
Okay, so when I got the Seashells folder for Franz Krauss, first of all, I browsed all the images quite briefly to understand what am I looking at. And then I started categorizing them by, at first, by color. As you can see through this four artworks that are presented here, I chose them by the size of the shell itself. I chose 2 large ones and 2 medium ones, not like in a collection of many small seashells drawings. And I chose similar color of the background and the image itself. You can see that I curated or presented them in a similar way on the other walls. Here you have, like, let's call it the yellow wall. And then you have the bright area over here in this part of the gallery. And the background is a bit more bright and white. And in this area, in the back wall of the gallery, I chose the one that were quite different than the others, which looked like the technique was a bit different. They had a frame to the image, and they were drawn like in a different way of presenting them. They're less realistic than the other ones. Let's call it that.
Could you? Do you remember what was this moment that you understood that you are going to work according to color, not by shapes of seashells or other things? And was it something that was connected to the space, or was it just your understanding of what's going to be nice next to each other, or if there's a different story to this choice of colors?
So when I looked at the images, I saw that in the handwriting on the images themselves, there are places that Franz collected them, and I thought to myself, this would be something that maybe could be a curational process, maybe to go through the location that they were gathered. But then when I placed them together, they looked random in terms of color, and then
even though they were from the same geographical area.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Because the background was different and the image and the color was different of the seashells themselves. And I thought to myself, okay, I need to organize this in a way that would be pleasant to the viewer. Maybe looking at it through the geographical location is not a very smart thing, because, okay, a seashell from the Philippines and seashells from Israel could look very similar, but the way they're drawn is the main issue. So I thought maybe color would be a good choice.
So there are two questions here. One, I would like to just point out that you need to pay attention at the next stage that you are going to work with this exhibition, that you are not doing a decoration process, that you are talking about content, or if you have a stronger story for the curatorial process. Because if we are going to just talk about color, it might look as we are decorating the space with nice images. So my advice is to go back maybe to Franz Krauss and understand that he was a graphic designer, and and he wasn't a biologist. So his interest was not about the history of those seashells, but he was interested more in the forms And I
Mhm.
think you made a good choice about color because of his profession. As a graphic designer, you can see those images, you can tell that he was really obsessed with the colors, the backgrounds, the composition of colors on the space. And please remember that when we'll talk about text, we might want to add or highlight this process of Hans Gauss dealing with color and context, and when we'll get to this stage in the exhibition.
Very well. So let's try and do, again, a hands-on session. And let's try and add a new image to the wall. We can choose it from the ones that we already uploaded, and then we can see what we can do with the text and size, etc. So I will pick one image with the blank, one of the blank images. And then it will say, see, room number 2, art 4 is the selected box. At this point, once I've chosen an artwork box, like a blank artwork box, I can go to my artworks and then choose one of the artworks to upload or to enter the space. So you can see I'm scrolling down with my mouse and I'm going down. Let's choose one of the ones that I've just uploaded, the new ones. Let's go. You can see there are many. Let's go with S119. Again, the white background. I'm pressing select, and then it will be uploaded directly to the wall itself, to the placeholder itself. You saw that the proportions changed a bit. You see, because let me go back. You see the proportions changed a bit from the original artwork. Sorry, from the original artwork to the one that I've uploaded. This one is a bit more rectangular, and this became quite square. So I can go choose the artwork again, and through the size and position, I can change, adapt, or manipulate the proportion of the image. So let's do 170. Obviously, if I had the correct, like the exact shape, I will be able to do it a bit more accurately, but at this point, what I'm going to do is fine. I'm going to do press the change size button, and then it will be adapted to its correct proportion. On the right, you have the scale up or scale down button, which basically will make the image larger or smaller, which is quite nice because the images can be drawn very small, but in the virtual space, we can make them much larger than they really are. And again, I can do a scale up and it will be massive. You see, it doubled the shape. So let's try and make it like 200 on 150 and the change size, and then it will be larger, a bit larger. We can do a scale down. Now it will be smaller. But this is a feature that is very nice in a digital realm, that we can manipulate the size of the image according to what we want to, the experience that we want to give our visitor. With the arrow buttons, I can move it down, up or down, right and left. And then in a few minutes, we're going to talk about the rhythm, right, Galit, and the placement itself. Let's do another one, just quickly. Yeah. I will go. It is better to stand.
Since I see some of your faces, is it clear? Can you go on and do it? Okay, good. Thank you, Lior.
It is better for us to stand in front of the image because then the proportions are correct, but it's okay. I can do it. See, I can choose any image with my mouse, but again, standing in front of it, as straight as possible, it will be better. I'm going to go back to the artwork and I'm scrolling down and I'm going to choose, let's say 130. Once I press it, we'll go full screen. I can watch if this is what I want, if I haven't done any mistakes, and I'll press select and it will go on the wall. Again, size and position, let's say 160 on 150. Change size, and it will go to the correct proportion. If I want to make a little bit more adjustments, I can do that. The text itself is something we can work on as well. At this point, what we chose to remove this this text box. You can add whatever text you want. Let's call it the shells I like the most. Sorry.
Until you do that, I want to just remind you that putting a text there can start a short story, can be a beginning of, can be a quote, can be a beginning of a thought, and playing with size and fonts later on would give you the opportunity to allow people to travel between the text and the image and slowly follow their path around the exhibition. So use text. It doesn't need to be clever thoughts. It doesn't need to be really headlines of the work, but text is another form. It's another way to, I think in most of our exhibitions, text would be similar in importance to the artwork. So use them, please use them.
So once I've added the text, the same with my artwork, I can choose it. I would recommend choosing it again through this with the mouse. Again, on the on the left hand side of it, I can change it through. I'm writing the text block. I'll do a change, and we'll change it. Delete element will delete it from the exhibition. Let's do another one. I'm choosing this one. See, it says room 2 label 4. The names doesn't really matter as long as you were able to choose them. Again, for the text, I would recommend try this area because it's a little bit tricky. But again, it's not something that you won't manage. Changing the text, changing the width and height, the size, the placement. Again, I can move it around. I can choose whether or not it's going to be on the image, on the bottom, and I can delete it totally.
Let's go back to the entrance and let's talk a little bit about rhythm, intimacy, flow, and the way we experience the space.
To those of you who were in Shankar's gallery, this is the entrance wall that we're going to manipulate in a minute. It's not that I'm entering something that is not existing there, just to let you know. And now I've entered the space and we can discuss the rhythm, the placement, and the size of the image, of the artworks.
Okay, so if you stand beside this entrance wall and you look forward, not to your black ones, the white ones, yes, exactly. You have two very strong groups of shells. One, the black ones on your left, and the yellow group on your right. At the moment, they're balanced in their size. Which group is more important for your story?
I think the black ones will
black
be,
ones?
Yeah, because as well, they're a bit more dominant in the space. So I would choose them as my main interest, as well as the way I enter the space. This is the first thing I'm going to experience, to my opinion. So I would focus on these in terms of
okay, so rhythm. Let's reduce the size of the yellow ones so they are more small, they're intimate, and they're not becoming, it's not a competition to the black group.
So perfect. So what I did now, I chose one and did a scale down to 50%. I can do that to all of these. And I can also cluster them a little bit further together so they won't have such a big space between them. So I would choose one and let's do it like this and like this.
Cheval, could you try a different arrangement for these three small ones? Try and separate them very far away from each other. See what happens in the space when you do that. What do you feel about it?
So at this point, I think that we have a bit more space in terms of to experience each one of them individually and not as a cluster in terms of exhibition-wise. I will have more time to experience each one separately rather than being, forced to watch them all together.
When you separate them like this, the message sent to the visitor that each one is very important. When you cluster them together, it means that the group is important, but not every sketch. So if you want to balance it, when you like pay the attention or tell your visitors, please pay attention, walk slowly, pay attention to each one, and they're very important. They might be even smaller in the space and more separate. And then I would consider adding some text somewhere, just to create some weight and balance on the wall.
So at this point, since I've deleted the text prior, it would be a bit harder to bring a text here, but I'm going to show something else that we can do with text that we were planning to do a bit further, but we can add it now. If I would choose one of the images, I can go to actions and add specific text to this image. The text is basically metadata. It's a hidden data inside the image, which will be exposed to the user, to the visitor, once he clicks on the image itself. Somewhat like a digital brochure, you know, that categorize or adds text to a few images in the exhibition. So once I chose one of the images, went to actions, and preset this image text in Word. I can copy it and paste it and press add text. Now you won't see anything, obviously, but once I press the image, it will open and I will see it as an added value and added information to this artwork that we just saw.
Could it be just text, or could it be a link?
It can be a link. I'm not sure it will be an active link.
Okay.
But at this point, we want to add extra metadata such as links, video files, maybe video files to a process of creating this artwork, or other images or other data that we can add to put an added value to the virtual exhibition part. Since we can add multiple layers of data and information to the artworks, except for the image itself, it's something that we're working on, and it is very important. At this point, we can add text as metadata to each image.
As you remember,
at the moment you click out of the image, the text disappears, right?
Yeah. Once I press the image, you see there's a gap between them. It's on purpose, so you'll be able to go back. And once I'll press the image, sorry, I'm going back here. Once I'll press the image, it will close.
So you do remember we talked earlier about the design process, about the art process, about different thoughts you had throughout working on this image, and this would be the place to put them. Your thoughts, your ideas. Maybe you wrote some text in your diary, maybe some scanning of your sketchbook. That would be a very interesting place. This would be the place to put it there, but it would be very interesting for your visitors to experience those layers of information while browsing through the exhibition.
I think this is part of what we were trying to do, to create an experience rather than just, you know, placing images on the wall. As we mentioned earlier, the added value of the curatorial part, of the extra layer that we usually are not being exposed to, or somewhat we need to ask for this information in a regular exhibition. This is something that is quite easily done in a virtual space. I'm just going to demonstrate again.
Before you go, let's finish this wall before you move forward.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, since look at the two walls together. Now turn to the left and see the dark wall. Sorry, no, stay in position. Go to the black images. Yes. So on one hand, we have the black images, beautifully done and very large. On the right hand, we have these three yellow, very small images, to create a stronger contrast. I would like to offer you to try and change the color of this wall.
Perfect. So in order to change the color of the wall, we go to the walls button here. I'm going to choose it. And I'm going to select one of the walls I want to manipulate its color. and I chose it. You see, oh, sorry, I chose room 0, wall 2 is selected wall, and I can scroll again through the colors.
Mhm.
So
Let's choose not the black one because black is very intense, but this one, yeah.
okay,
Let's see
so the
this
dark
one and
gray.
then maybe the black.
Okay, so let's give it a go. I chose this one. I'm putting select, and then you see it's a little bit darker. I can go and
So
try
let's go black. Yeah.
and this one. And maybe there's another one, which is no, this one. It was the original one. And let's try the black one. I'm doing select. This is the black one. Maybe it's a bit dominant, you would say.
Okay. Let's try and look at the both walls one against each other, and let's talk about the experience of what happened in space. Now you can see that the space is somehow balanced because you have the black images on the left side. This black wall really reflects this color on the other side, but there's this three very yellowish, very light features in the middle of the space, and probably for the next phase of this platform, you could really handle the lighting and create a very intimate experience there. But if you put those two together, now you see that the black wall actually supports your choice of the three images on the left. Exactly. So now I think the entrance of the exhibition really works. Now let's look at the long view that you have, the vista, exactly that wall.
This one.
Not this one, the one forward where there's the blue in the center. Yes, you can see that there's something when all the images are in the same size, our eyes are bored easily. So choose one of those images and let's try and enlarge it very much. Let's try and see what happens when we create a very big image.
So let's first, in order to do that, let me delete this one. So we will have a bit more space on the wall. Again, these are placeholders, so we can remove them if we don't have as much artwork, or if we want to make the wall a bit less clustered and have more space. So I'm going to go to size and position again, choose this image. I'm going to do a delete element. I'm going to delete the text as well. And now let's move everything a little bit further. So we'll have a little bit more, so we'll have a little bit more space to work in. Sorry, let me move here.
Yes.
Okay. So what I would do, I would take this one because it's like a single shell and the color is very bright. And maybe I would take this one and scale it up. Okay. Maybe it's a bit too big. So let's
I wanted you to try and have a very large shell on the wall.
Okay.
And now go back to the entrance and see what happens with this huge shell on the wall. Okay.
So this is like one of the first views that the visitor will see when he enters the space, like this very big. Maybe we can make it even a bit bigger.
Even bigger, yes.
So I'm fast forwarding with my arrow keys, choosing the image. Let's do 400 by 400, which is massive. Again, this is like, this is like full size of the image. The height of the gallery is around 6 meters. So this is a massive drawing. But again, this is a virtual space, so we can manipulate our reality in a way.
So if you go back to the entrance, let's talk of what happened when we enlarged this shell.
I just want to move this one so we will
okay.
Join together. Perfect.
Okay, so tell me what happens now.
So I think
what do you feel when you enter the exhibition?
So I think the main feeling that I got was like it pulls you in to get the sense of why is it so big? Why was the large image positioned there? And I think that if it would be even in a hidden place, like right after when I turn, it will give a very surprise. If it would be a very large image on the right, it also would be a very interesting surprise to the visitor to enter the space and then to be exposed to such a big drawing. As well, maybe it could be just the other way around. It could be very small and then what's going on over there? Let me go through all this to see what's further back. So I think the change of size in that matter is very unique. Gives us a very like pull you in feeling in order to get inside the space.
You're right. This is a focal point. It's a very important tool to use in exhibitions. It will draw my eyes, and then of course my body would follow. You actually, because we have this L-shaped space, you could use it twice, once here and once on the second room, and it wouldn't. It would work together because we do need to move our bodies and turn to look at the other space on the right. So you can actually have another huge image on the right. But we need to understand why is it that big. It should be an image that deserves this kind of enlargement. So either the details are very interesting, or it's a very unique shell because of its shape or color. Maybe the one that looks like that.
I would say what's interesting about this is that it's a section. Basically, it draws the inside, not just the outside, but the interior form of the shell itself. But I want to question something. I want to raise a question. Would you put that in this, in a real space in that size? Would you use such a large image in a real space, or that we are enabling ourselves to do these manipulations because we have the possibility, which is an interesting question.
It's a wonderful question. I have to say that yes, I would do that. I think the reason I would enlarge this image so big, because it would change my perspective as a visitor, and maybe the way I'm used to look at shells. Usually I'm the big person, the shells are small, so the scale is very clear. But once you change the scale, I think it allows me to look at different details that we are not seeing regularly. And I don't like using microscopes or all those different things, but I think just using this very large images allows you as a visitor to feel different in space. So this, yes, I would use it also in a non-digital space. But I think the image on your left is suffering from that.
This one.
So, yes, I think you can tell that it's really, it doesn't feel
well. It doesn't have any,
no space there. So you need to create some space there from the corner of the room.
So maybe I would move everything to the right. I want to add something, to our users, that since it's a virtual reality space, once I move towards the image and I would stand very close to the image, I would have to raise my head, so-called head, in order to watch it. The perspective works similar to what we would watch as in a physical world. We would never stand in front of a 4-meter image so close. We would never do that. We will never get, unless we want to watch specific details. So I think this is very interesting in terms of the balance between the physical and the digital world. So it's not really fake, in a way that it's similar to the way we would behave in a physical world. We won't stand in front of such a large image from that distance. So I think this is very interesting. I want to go back to the entrance wall to add text.
Perfect.
So once you enter, again, I'm moving with my arrow keys. So once we enter the space, there is a welcoming wall that you can add text on. So I would press it again. You see it comes back to this text box. I'm going to delete this one and I'm going to add another one. This is a quote. I'm going to Control-C and then Control-V it. And I'm going to do change text. And then it comes right here. At this point, you can't really change the font or the placement on a very small scale. But again, this is all some things that we are working on and trying to make them a bit more delicate and precise. But again, this is it. Imagine the space without this information or with a very long information text. It's something nice we can add, again, as added value, as you would in a regular exhibition, as a welcoming text.
Please remember that opening text should be from 50 to 100 words and not more. People, digital or physical, can't read more than that. And do please give a name to your exhibition. Let me know what I'm about to see. Tell me a good story. Lead me in, and do not explain to me. Do not describe the exhibition. But please remember that your text is part of this exhibition. It's like a very interesting beginning of a red thread that will pull me in. And some of those words would be words that I would meet again throughout this browsing the exhibition. But maybe I would finish browsing the exhibition and go out and read the text again. Just say, oh yes, this is what you meant. Now I understand why these exhibitions look like this.
I want to show one last thing, maybe, is the way right now you saw most of the work in the editor view. I want to make it full screen for you guys in order to experience what we've done so far. So I would press the VR button here on the right, and then it goes full screen, right? You see it full screen?
Yes, yes.
So this is the experience that we were aiming for, a full screen, high resolution exhibition that you can walk around in a virtual space and experience what we've done so far. This is, the gray blackish wall. This is our 3 images, the 3 smaller images wall. I can press them and get the metadata and the added value that we discussed. I can go further and watch my massive shell image, which is, you can see what Galit mentioned earlier about this image not having enough air, so I can manipulate its place or size again, rotate and get this unique different wall. And still there's work to be done right here on the right, but I think at this point you saw our main features and our main issues that were dealt in this process, both tutorial and both.
I have one last request from you.
Go ahead.
Could you tell me what is the feeling of the space? Is it sad? Is it happy? Is it quiet? Is it noisy?
I wouldn't say quiet or noisy. I would say intriguing. You want to see these things that you're used to seeing very small, so you can approach and watch them in a larger scale and watch the details, both in terms of the technique of the drawing as well as the biological aspect of it. If I would say, I would call this like very dramatic. I think, again, this is a very dramatic wall in terms of color and both size. And obviously this one is, I would say this is like the main issue. This is
it became the main issue of the exhibition.
Yeah, it became the main issue. Obviously size makes such a big issue. Again, this is like very, very big in terms of the space size, in terms of the other image sizes. But I think if we would have another hour, we would make it even more accurate. But I think you get the sense of the possibilities to work in a virtual space in terms of exhibiting artwork, such as drawings or hand drawing.
If you this space at the moment is a very subtle one. It's a very quiet one. But the last thing we would do is change the color of the floor, and then you'd see that it turns from a very serious exhibition about shells to something completely different. And since we have a lot of red, do you think you can see if we can have a red floor?
Yes.
See what happens to this space.
So once you would go to walls again, obviously a floor is not a wall, but let's call it a wall for this part. So I'm choosing walls, I'm pressing the floor. Floor is the selected label, and I'm going to choose one of the other colors that I have here, which is red. And I'm going to do select and then
see what happens. It's a completely different feeling.
Mhm.
So since this is a virtual exhibition, since this is all digital, allow yourself to experiment, allow yourself to feel this exhibition, to really try and understand what would be the feeling of visitors entering your space. Should they be intimidated? Should they be happy, curious? What kind of a feeling do you want them to have? And when they leave, and if you turn back and you remember this white wall that we have at the exit, this entrance wall, do not forget that we have an exit wall also that we need to attend. So it could have a little quote, it could have a little image. On this side, we have the entrance text, but on the other side, when you exit the gallery, something needs to say goodbye. It could be a very, very tiny shell, maybe a 3D one. It could be the signature of Franz Krauss. It could be an original, like original sized, something that would have a closure for this exhibition. And then I would understand that this is the exit and this is where I'm leaving the exhibition. And usually people would carry in their heart this last image that you gave them.
I understand.
I would like to thank Galit and Shoval for this demonstration. Actually, we see really well the potential of the virtual exhibition, but in addition, in our case here, because we have a digital twin of this gallery, I could say that it would be also a very useful tool to test things before we even go to the real space. So it can be a very good laboratory and have multiple options in the beginning and then narrow them down when we actually want to curate the real space. We are in the first...
Just another note before entering the questions part. Once you've finished, I forgot to tell you how to say, which is the most important thing.
You want to show it, Shoval?
Yeah, can I share my screen?
This is really, really important.
Yes. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So once you've done everything, all the images were as you wanted them, you press Save Exhibition. You will get a confirmation message. Okay, got it. And then you can go back. And all your work will be saved to this point. Again, I'm entering it. And then you can see what we've done so far.
It is important to say that the lecturer has access to all of his students' exhibitions, while each student has only access to his own exhibition. So these are two different allocations under the title of a lecturer and of a student. I want to just say that we are in at the end of the first year of a 3-year project. You are seeing here the low fidelity product. We are currently developing several points within the platform. We are trying to have an integrated curation process, which is kind of a dialogue process between the lecturer and the art student before he or she gets into virtual space and starts setting up the exhibition. We are working on lighting options, on grid positions on the wall, inserting 3D elements, inserting sound, navigation within VR goggles. It's actually pretty cool to put on your goggles and be within the virtual space and see your exhibition. Building gallery spaces from modules, from ready modules, and having shared exhibition spaces for multiple students, for multiple art students. Oops. Yes, so we would like to invite you to go and sign in our CREAMS platform after we finish this webinar. Make your account. By tomorrow, we can see everybody that signed up. We will assign you an exhibition space, so you can actually go and play around and evaluate our platform. Then within the Moodle, or also here, Shoval, maybe you can put it on the chat, we would appreciate your feedback, because based on your feedback, we are improving and prioritizing what we are developing within this platform. So this is this stage is very important for us to hear back from you. And I would like to let you know that this can be a future tool for you guys tomorrow. Instead of a PowerPoint portfolio or a website portfolio, to actually place your art within a virtual exhibition in 3D space. So when you send a link to somebody to look at your art can be curated already in the way and with the narrative that you want it to be. So people that want to invite you as a guest artist or to participate in an exhibition, they can see your artwork within context. Thank you very much. I would like to open the floor to questions.
I think everyone is registering now, so they can start having new exhibitions. Good.
Okay.
Mhm.
Great. I would like to thank everybody who joined us from all different corners of the world. I think we have student representatives from all the 5 universities that we are working with. Please sign up. We will, until tomorrow, we will assign you an exhibition space, and we would really appreciate your feedback. Follow us on our social media. We will keep you posted on our developments, and maybe we can invite you like that also in the next webinar of the high fidelity tool that will come out.
If you have any questions, technical questions, you can email us as well at the Creams info that we've sent you all the invites from. You're more than welcome to consult with us, and we'll be happy to attend.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. See you next week.